He is from Peru, a member of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang, and is accused of 19 crimes, including numerous murders. Hells Angels is the largest motorcycle club in the world, with roughly 3,500 members worldwide, with thousands of charters across the globe. They are known to be a worldwide outlaw motorcycle club who rides Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Most of the time, these outlaws can become involved in conflicts with the law. Watch as they are condemned due to their crimes. Number 5 is Adam Lee Hall. He is one of the 3 suspects who was accused of torturing and stealing 3 Pittsfield men's lives during Hurricane Irene and buried their bodies in Beckett. The witnesses took a stand in his trial. Even Hall's former girlfriend said he had 3 guns hidden in a dog food bag the night of 2011 slaying. Because of the publicity surrounding the case, the trial was moved from Berkshire County to Springfield. Hall was rejected his request for a new trial, and the Supreme Judicial Court upheld the 3 first-degree convictions of his. However, the court ruled Hall not guilty of kidnapping of one of the victims a year before the slayings. Hall, along with his 2 accomplices, David CHALUE and Caius Villoivas, were convicted of first-degree charges in 2014. The 5 consecutive life sentences who authorities said to be a high-ranking Hells Angels member had been serving will now to reduce to 4 consecutive life terms as a result of this decision. Number 4 is David CHALUE. He was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole for the slayings of David Glasser, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell in the well-known Hells Angels triple slayings. For a first-degree conviction, the obligatory minimum punishment is life in prison without the possibility of parole. There was a recommendation suggested to Hampton Superior Court Judge C. Jeffrey Kinder for the 3 to run one after the other, to recognize the value of each victim. Since there was no possibility of parole, the consecutive sentences were used to recognize their value. It was claimed that calling the behavior heinous would be an understatement because the victims were tortured and mutilated. At number 3 is Joseph LANCIA. He was the president of the Hells Angels in Rhode Island. He was able to change his plea after he was able to make a deal with prosecutors and was only sentenced to serve 5 years in prison. LANCIA arrived in Providence Superior Court and brought along a dozen members of the motorcycle club. They were all wearing their full-patch jackets for the hearing before Justice Kristen Rogers. LANCIA refused to admit guilt to the accusation of felony and battery. He also refused the accusation of carrying a gun without license. The charges of discharging a firearm when committing a crime of violence, and invasion with intent to commit a slaying were all dismissed, which was part of the deal. LANCIA has to return to court to turn himself in so he can start his sentence at the Adult Correctional Institutions in Cranston. With the 5 years, he will also be on probation for 10 years. His main case began in June 2019 when he fired a gun at a truck driven by Richard Starnino, who was once a prospect to join the biker club. Starnino was also involved in an ongoing dispute with LANCIA. Based on the investigation, LANCIA can be seen on the video surveillance shooting at the truck Starnino was driving. He was on his way to the Hells Angels Providence headquarters on Messer Street. The main evidence they had against LANCIA was seen from the clubhouse's own security system. That gave LANCIA a total of 9 original charges, and he will face a maximum of 61 years in prison if he was found guilty in trial. Roger had given LANCIA a heads up that on the 18th of February, the day that he is scheduled to be sent to the ACI, she would send him to prison for the full 18-year sentence if he goes against the terms of his release. Number 2. 3 Hells Angels face life sentences. They consisted of Jonathan Nelson, aka John, and Russell Taylor Ott, aka Rusty of Santa Rose, and Brian Wayne Went of Tulare. They were found to take the life of their own members and to be part of the conspiracy to commit slaying. The Department of Justice said that the Hells Angels Club in Sonoma County was formed in 1972, and some of the income comes from selling shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and other items that bear the club's logo. They also sponsored toy drives for children. There was an 8-year investigation that went into the Sonoma Club. It involved the DOJ, the Santa Rosa Police Department, and the California Highway Patrol. In 2017, charges against 11 Hells Angels members were filed for conspiracy. The DOJ said it involved slaying, drug dealing, robbery, extortion, illegal possession of firearms, and obstruction of justice. According to the DOJ, Nelson, Ott, and Wendt were part of the operation, and they were convicted of destroying Joel Silva, a member they were adamant was creating problems for the motorcycle club. According to federal prosecutors, the slaying went down in Fresno. Again, Silva was arranged by Nelson and Ott. Ott drove Silva there on July 15, 2014, claiming he needed to fight the president of the Fresno branch at the time. In order for the problems to be resolved, Wendt shot Silva in the head. Silva's body was cremated at a nearby crematorium the next day. While the trial was ongoing, other information about the Hells Angels Club in Sonoma started to come out. Each of the 3 suspects are serving a mandatory life sentence. At number 1, we have Maurice Bouche. When Bouche was at the peak of his leadership and power as the intimidating crime boss of Quebec Hells Angels, he was imprisoned in May 2002 because of several crimes, including 2 counts of first-degree charges, attempted slaying, and conspiracy to commit a slaying. He was already serving a life sentence when he committed slaying in 1997 against the prison guards Pierre Rondeau and Diane Levine. There was a period of gang violence in Quebec known as the Biker Wars. It started in 1995 when a slaying was committed towards an 11-year-old Montreal boy, Daniel Durocher, who died in an explosion. It provoked a great deal of public outrage and resulted in a large number of biker gang members being arrested throughout the province. Maurice Bouche died at the age of 69 and suffered from throat cancer. He refused being treated for the disease and got transferred from his super maximum security facility to a place where he can be provided palliative care and soon passed away from natural causes. Well, that's it for today's video. Comment down below which of the Hells Angels members seem the most dangerous to you. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.